Let's begin with late June 2025, when President Trump narrowly passed his ambitious Big Beautiful Bill through the Senate, winning by just 51-49. Dr. Carter, why was this legislative victory so significant for Trump's presidency?
That margin highlights extreme polarization within Trump's own party. Despite the win, several GOP senators opposed parts of the bill. The slim vote count indicated underlying fractures, especially with moderates who felt sidelined by the bill's provisions.
So, even as Trump claimed victory, the seeds of discord were sown. How did his subsequent attacks on GOP senators escalate the situation?
Trump's public criticism of senators like Thom Tillis and Rand Paul, especially through social media, deepened intra-party rifts. This wasn't just airing grievances. It risked undermining party unity right after a hard-fought win.
Let's delve into Trump's June 28 attack on Tillis and others. What's the impact of a president publicly berating his own party senators?
Public rebukes can fracture trust. When leaders air internal disputes, it signals instability to voters and donors. In the short term, it may rally Trump's base, but in the long term, it risks alienating crucial swing voters and moderates.
It's almost like a CEO criticizing their board members in a press conference, damaging internal morale and external confidence. Is there historical precedent for such intra-party strife having electoral consequences?
Absolutely. In 2010, Tea Party infighting weakened GOP prospects in key Senate races. When unity falters, the opposition often capitalizes, as Democrats might in North Carolina following Tillis's retirement.
The day after these attacks, Sen. Tillis announced his retirement. How does a single senator's exit shift the Senate landscape?
North Carolina is a classic purple state. With Tillis stepping down, Republicans lose the advantage of incumbency. Open seats are historically 30% more likely to flip, especially in competitive states where the margin is slim.
Could this have been avoided if Trump had taken a more conciliatory approach toward Tillis?
Potentially. Had Trump sought compromise rather than confrontation, Tillis might have stayed, providing GOP stability. Instead, the vacancy offers Democrats a prime pickup opportunity, threatening the Senate majority.
On June 30, the Wall Street Journal issued a scathing editorial. Why does criticism from a Murdoch-owned outlet matter so much for Trump?
The Wall Street Journal's editorial board is a bellwether for elite conservative opinion. When such outlets turn critical, it signals deep unease among donors and influencers. Media backlash can erode the president's credibility among swing voters.
It's the equivalent of a trusted advisor publicly questioning your strategy. Does this shift media coverage or just echo existing divides?
Both. Mainstream conservative media dissent can amplify doubts among the base, but more crucially, it shapes perceptions among independents and persuadables, potentially swaying close races.
Let's zoom out to the broader GOP Senate map. With retirements and primary threats, how vulnerable is the Republican majority?
Extremely vulnerable. With seats like Maine, Iowa, and Texas also facing strong Democratic challengers, the GOP is defending more competitive territory than in the past decade. Losing even one or two could flip control.
Would you say Trump's tactics are increasing this risk, or is it more about demographic shifts in those states?
It's a combination. Trump's antagonism alienates moderates, while demographic changes urbanization, younger voters make these seats less reliably Republican. The two factors compound each other.
If Democrats win the Senate in 2026, how would that affect Trump's presidency for the remainder of his term?
A Democratic Senate could effectively block Trump's legislative initiatives and judicial appointments, including Supreme Court picks. Historically, such gridlock stalls a president's domestic agenda, as seen during Obama's final years.
Could Trump pivot by relying more on executive orders, or would that be insufficient?
Executive orders provide some flexibility, but major policy change taxes, healthcare, immigration require congressional approval. So, legislative paralysis would severely limit Trump's effectiveness.
Let's break down Trump's position using a SWOT analysis. Starting with strengths. What advantages does he maintain despite the current turmoil?
Trump retains unmatched loyalty among GOP primary voters. His ability to sway endorsements and mobilize turnout means he can still shape candidate selection, even if elite opinion turns against him.
So he's like a coach with die-hard fans, even when the owners and sponsors express doubts. Does that power help him push controversial policies through Congress?
Yes, to an extent. Fear of primary challenges keeps many GOP lawmakers in line. However, this approach can backfire if it leads to weaker general election candidates, risking overall party control.
Turning to weakness show, does Trump's habit of attacking allies undermine his leadership?
Impulsive attacks erode trust and cohesion. They create an environment where even loyalists fear sudden public rebuke, discouraging honest feedback and fostering resentment among moderates.
Is it fair to say this approach narrows his coalition, making it harder to pass broad-based legislation?
Absolutely. When party unity is damaged, the legislative process becomes more contentious. It's like trying to row a boat with everyone paddling in different directions. Progress slows or stops entirely.
Let's discuss the opportunities. How might Trump turn this crisis into a chance to further his agenda?
Trump could rally his base around anti-establishment themes, positioning himself as the outsider fighting entrenched interests. He also has the chance to back loyalists in Senate primaries, potentially reshaping the GOP caucus in his image.
Are there risks if these new candidates are less electable in swing states?
Definitely. While energizing the base can boost turnout, nominating hardline candidates often alienates moderates, making seats in purple states more vulnerable to Democratic flips.
Finally, let's turn to the threats. How significant is the risk posed by media backlash and growing Democratic momentum?
Media outlets like the Wall Street Journal have sway among donors and thought leaders. If sustained, their criticism could depress fundraising and turnout. Meanwhile, energized Democrats in states like North Carolina, Maine, and Texas are actively courting disaffected moderates.
So, are we witnessing a tipping point for GOP control of the Senate and, by extension, Trump's effectiveness as president?
It's very possible. Unless Trump can rebuild bridges or adapt his strategy, the combination of open seats, media criticism, and Democratic resurgence could severely constrain his presidency after 2026.